Before Eva. Screams were let off in all directions like fireworks on the 4th of July that night. Her brother, Tariq, had begun it, the first in the crowd to articulate the horror that the opening of the third lorry had thrown at them. My sister is on there. With that, he bolted onto the back of the truck and began frantically picking through the tangle of the dead like they were knocked down goods at a jumble sale until he found his twin. Their 6'7" man mountain of a cousin, Luan, watched with his eyes awash with fear. The lumbering giant suddenly reduced to a colossal great baby, cramming his fists in his mouth, whining thinly in the wind and doing a little dance of terror. Luan could only gawp, useless and ridiculous, as Tariq emerged with Eva lifeless in his arms like a giant rag doll and laid her down on the tarmac. Tariq screamed again, but this time his bawling would not be heard above the mass shrieks of hysteria from a crowd rapidly turning mad with rage. He grabbed the great slabs of roast beef Luan called arms and pulled him down to the tarmac alongside her. There they yelled a violent prayer to their god, ripped open her shirt, pounded on her chest as though it were a drum, and took turns laying down their mouths over her mouth in the most savage of kisses, forcing their air into her lungs, their life into her cold veins. Even half-dressed and sprawled out on asphalt, Eva Skanderberg was a sight to see. Her long limbs gleamed like chiseled marble under the moon's bony light. Her golden hair spread out in a circle around her head like a halo. She only rocked against their attempts to drag her back into the world of the living, her blind eyes staring upwards into the dark sky and the slow dance of the infinite stars. The call and languor of death beckoning her spirit evermore to leave its earthly bonds and come its way like smoke. The more powerfully death called her, the more vehemently her brother held her back. To have a sibling ripped from your side, from your world, was as obscene and unnatural as losing a child or a limb. He simply would not allow it. Finally, either God or the devil himself gave in to Tariq's demands. Eva opened her mouth in 3 quick successions, puffing for the air like a fish half dead from flopping, begging for oxygen in the choking world. Tariq and Luan froze at her sides, petrified that if they should touch her now, she'd slip away, forever out of their reach. She let out a low moan and twisted and writhed, then violently arched her back as if suddenly set on fire. Her voice cracked and rose and whined into a shrill, senile treble.
I've seen death! I've seen death!
Luan and Tariq sagged like 2 men whose endoskeletons had collapsed inside them. They flopped upon her in tears. The one saved life from the cargo of crumpled ruin. Eva Skanderberg, stolen back from the jaws of death, fixed her strange, manic stare to the moon, a wolf baby, suddenly ripped from the womb, newborn and howling.